Thank you so much for coming to my channel. Now, I would like to ask you to comment, like, subscribe, and super chat, honey. Go ahead and do that. And I want you to brace yourself, grab a pen and paper. Today is an extra special message for those who really are desperate to lose weight. You don't know what to do. Some of you all are saying, well, I lost 10 pounds, but I want to lose this part right here or this part right here. Lord have mercy, honey, take a squat, sat down somewhere. We have a guest who specializes in what she calls mind over meals. And I'm literally taking her book and I'm going to read it to y'all. So, this guest, she addresses root emotional causes. She helps you transform limiting beliefs. She helps you heal from past food stories. She creates internal alignment. She helps you to build sustainable change. She helps you to develop self trust. And she helps you to provide a supportive community. Her name is Michelle with two L's, Pettis. And we are so glad you are here, Michelle. Thank you for Mind Over Meals.
DebraAnn, thank you. Thank you for your graciousness in having me come on here. I want to say every Thursday, but it isn't always every Thursday. It depends on whether or not I oversleep. So, but thank you for holding space. Thank you for all the love and support and guidance and um, just being here for people in this struggle, right? Because we don't always know that we have somebody to be here for us. Um, so I want to give you your props. I'm going to give you your props for that. All right. And so as I was listening to you read about what mind over meals is, what I kind of had this idea of us unpacking each one of those things. So you said she helps you. What was that?
The
Let's
first
take
one,
them
A,
one at a time.
address root emotional causes.
Yes. So we hear all the time. We hear all the time, I'm an emotional eater. People say it like it's okay. That's just the way that it is. So I want to break down a couple things about emotional eating.
Okay.
The research tells us the research tells us that 75% of people admit to being emotional eaters.
Mm-hmm.
The other 25% are emotional eaters too. They just don't recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
That's thing one. And the reason everybody isn't emotional is everybody eats emotionally. Here's the reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because eating is a behavior, eating is an action. And every action, every behavior is driven by an emotion. It's every action, every behavior is driven by a thought. It's driven by a feeling. It's driven by a belief. And I don't know how, I'm not the biggest Bible person in the world, but I believe that there's some scripture that says, as a man thinketh, that's he iseth. You know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, so that speaks to the fact you have to think before you can do.
That's right.
As a man think, that's how he is, or how it goes. That's not me just making that up. That's scripture for those of you who are devout. And if you know that to be the truth and you accept that to be the truth, then it makes sense that you would work on your thinking first.
All
And if
right
you work
now.
on your thinking first, that means you're working on your believing first, right? You're working on your feelings first. You're working on your emotions first. Because we have the ability to manage those things. And here's the thing, is that whether or not we manage them or not, they're going to show up. And if we don't manage them ourselves, then somebody who knows more about our brain is going to manage our thoughts for us. And that is part of the reason that we're grappling with so much confusion and so many problems in this area is because the big food companies, the big processed food companies, the big snack food companies, the big junk food companies, they know more about how our brains work than we do. They
Mhm.
know more about the feelings and the beliefs and the associations and the thoughts we have about food than we do. And
Mhm.
with that information, they are able to program us to feel certain things about food that drive our behavior and drive up their profits, but send our health into decline.
Yes.
And I'm so glad you are taping this because if you heard this piece right here, go back and listen to this. Go
Mhm.
back and listen to this part right here because this part right here, this is the juice. This is I was 60 years old before I figured this out. I wish to God I had somebody tell me this when I was 18.
Yes.
I wish I knew this when I was 18. I wish I had this fundamental understanding when I was 18 years old.
Yes.
So, but I didn't. But but guess what? I'm telling as many people as I can that will listen to me now that this is how you get your body back. This is how you get your life back. This is how you get your brain back. And and I do want to say, as much as I get that, we're concerned about how we look, that's important. I was concerned about how I looked. When I started on this journey and the thing that kept me moving is I wanted to wear cuter clothes, y'all. I just wanted to wear cuter clothes. I wanted to be able to walk into a room and not wonder if I was gonna be the biggest one in the room. I wanted to I wanted to feel like I looked on the outside like I felt on the inside. I wanted those things to be in alignment, and they never were. They never were. But but in as much as I wanted that, and that's understandable, this message is so much more important than that. It is deeper than that. It is more critical than that. It is about your life. It was about my life. And when I went to the doctor's office and the doctor said stress will kill you, it didn't even hit me right away. I just knew I wanted to lose weight. Right?
Mhm.
I was so separated and disconnected from myself and my purpose and from understanding that I didn't even get that right away. That it was about
Mhm.
that this is about living. What we put in our mouth, we have the advertisers, history, culture, experience, everything will tell us to make decisions based on appearance, based on taste, based on pleasure, based on smell. Every everything will tell us that that's how we're supposed to make a decision about what we eat. But none of those things have anything to do with the real reason of why we should ever eat anything. And the real reasons are nutrition, nourishment, and energy. Food is just fuel. The purpose of eating is to fuel this vessel, is to give it nutrition. Think about it when for praying people. When you pray before your meal, don't what do you say? Thank you, God, for this food. Bless it. And we pray that it will nourish and
Nourish our
strengthen our
bodies.
bodies.
Mhm.
That's what we say. We know it. We say the words, but we don't hear them. We say the words, but we don't understand them. We have that's kind of that's that we have everything we need, but we're not clued into it. We're not tapped into it. Bless this food so that it will nourish and strengthen our bodies. If that becomes the North Star, if that becomes the anchor, then the questions become before everything that we put in our mouth, will this nourish and will this nourish and strengthen my body? Will this Is this nutritious for my body? Will it strengthen my body? And if we can't pronounce it, that means we don't know whether it's gonna nourish or strengthen it or not. So then why are we eating it?
Yes.
That will this nourish and strengthen in our bodies? If we've done the research and we know that it's addictive, is that nourishing and strengthening? If we know that it has empty calories, is that nourishing and strengthening? If we know that it impacts our kidneys, impacts our liver function, impacts our pancreas, impacts our development, slows our growth, impairs cognition, stops performance, slows down memory, then it does not nourish, it does not strengthen. And so those questions, just thinking about that allows us to tap into an emotion around eating. And it's emotion and it's emotion an emotion that people don't talk about.
Mhm.
And that is the emotion of pride. That is the emotion of your own personal power. That is the emotion of honoring eating out of integrity, right? Eat
Mhm.
if you eating out of alignment, those are all emotions, but those are emotions that tap into our personal power to live on this stage of life in the way that we want to live it, rather being dictated to by the snack food companies, the junk food companies, and the processed food manufacturers who want us to eat for pleasure and entertainment and not nutrition and nourishment.
Yes. The next one is transforms limiting beliefs.
Yeah. It's so transform limiting beliefs. The our beliefs are just our stories. I mean that when I talk about food stories, that's just another way for me to talk about that's just another way for me to talk about our beliefs.
Mhm.
And here's the thing about limiting beliefs and transforming them. And I want everybody to understand every belief that we have is a belief that was formed.
Mhm.
Every belief that we have is a belief that was formed because we were born into this world believing nothing. And so, what that tells us is that whatever we believe now, if we have beliefs that are holding us back, we have the ability to create beliefs that will push us forward. If we have beliefs that are keeping us in the dark, we have the ability to create beliefs that will move us into the light.
That's right.
And the way that we do that, there are multiple ways that we do that. But one of the ways that we do that is actually paying attention and seeing the possibility and opening our eyes and our thoughts and our minds to new and different ways of thinking. I mean, this is how I think about it. I before I really paid attention to walking and movement and exercise, I would I'd be driving around in my car and I'd see people out running in the rain, right?
Mhm.
And I would say to myself, what is wrong with them? What's wrong with them? What what so we're two different peoples with two different beliefs.
Mhm.
it never occurred to me to think, what does this person know that I don't know that has them out here in the rain running? What is it that they believe that makes this activity so important to them?
Yeah.
I just I just discounted it because I didn't understand it, because I was ignorant,
Yeah.
because I was ignorant. And so we have to like step outside of the box of our own thoughts.
But Michelle, even deeper than that, what about people who deep down in their hearts do not believe that they can lose the weight? This is just the way I am. I'm big boned.
Yes,
And in their hearts, they do not feel they're worthy.
yeah, yeah. And so, you know what, Deborah Ann? Even that belief is a learned belief, right?
Yes.
That came from somewhere. And the way that you get that out of your heart is what you do is you pull the belief up and you start looking at it, right? That's what we do in the writing workshops. We take these thoughts that we have, these beliefs that we have, and we examine them and we start asking questions. What makes me think that this is true?
Hmm.
What evidence is there that this is not true? Who told this to me? Why did they tell me this? Do I have what evidence do I have that this is true? Suppose it's not true. And it's funny that you say that because I just wrote this down. You see, I have my notebook here. I just wrote this down. No, you don't see that I have this notebook here. 'Cause
I
you
see the
never see it.
notebook.
Okay,
I can see
okay.
it.
So I just wrote. This is my notebook, and I just wrote this down as a prompt for some workshop. I'm not some workshop we're gonna do, but it says, "What happens when your truth is a lie?
Hmm.
What happens when your truth is a lie?"
Hmm.
Is it the question becomes, is it possible that what you're thinking is not the truth? Is it possible? Suppose so just release it for a moment and suppose that it's not the truth.
Hmm.
Would you be interested in exploring that possibility? And if it's not the truth, how would your life change?
Hmm.
Why why do you think that that's true? Why do
Hmm.
you think that it would be available to everybody else in the world and not you? Why do you think that that would be the case? Or 50% of the people? Why do you think it would be available, right?
And right along with that is um, healing past food stories. Did I already say that?
Mm-mm, mm-mm. No, you didn't.
Healing
We talked
past
about
food.
we talked about beliefs.
Yes. Yes.
So it is you have I want to stay on this for just a little second and we'll go back to it.
Okay.
But we have to keep examining. We have to keep looking. We have to keep questioning. We have to stay in that mode all the time. And I stay in that mode all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is and so I'm not sharing or asking anybody to do anything that I don't do all the time myself
Mm-hmm.
because that's what keeps you whole. That's what heals you. That's what
Mm-hmm.
keeps you healthy. That's what keeps you sane. That's what keeps you in recovery, right? Because there is food doesn't have any power. If you're watching right now and you don't get anything else that I say, get this piece right here. Food does not have any power. Food is inanimate. Our thoughts have the power. And when we change our thoughts about the food, when we change our thoughts about everything. When we
Mm,
change our thoughts about anything, everything changes. And we have the capacity and we have the ability to do that. We just have to have a compelling reason to do it. We have to
mm,
have a reason. We have to have a reason to do it,
yes.
a compelling reason to do it, a, a reason that means everything, everything is on the line.
Mhm.
Right? When we see that everything, you know what I want to do? This one, I, I have been for some reason, this week has been very busy for me. I have spent most of my days at the post office, um, sending out books, and
Mhm.
so I want to talk about that compelling reason, and I'm gonna if you don't mind, I'm gonna take it.
Oh, not at
I'm
all.
I'm gonna I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna read like the first couple of pages of the book, because
Okay.
so many times I get asked the question, where did it all begin for you? How did it start? What was what was the what was your point of transformation? And I want to talk about this. I want to read this point of transformation. So I'm reading from my book, Leaving Large: The Stories of a Food Addict. You can get it at leavinglarge.com. Just go to leavinglarge.com. I will sign a copy and send it directly to you with my trusty pen right here. The seeds for the idea of this book were planted at a family cookout on my uncle's farm in the summer of 1996. It all began when I asked my favorite uncle if he wanted some watermelon. I figured he would say yes. After all, the watermelon on deck that day was big, bright red, and juicy. It looked so sweet and refreshing. I couldn't wait to dig into its cool, crisp deliciousness.
Mhm.
Billy, I said, using the only name I ever called my uncle, do you want some of this watermelon? No, he replied. Why not? I asked. Do you not like watermelon? You're just not hungry? Do you want some later? Everyone else was enjoying it, but not Billy. I thought it was odd. I don't eat watermelon, Billy explained, still uninterested. But why not? I insisted. You don't
Mm,
like it? Realizing that I am not about to let this go, my uncle, who was in his late 70s by then, finally relented. He told me the story that would years later forever change my beliefs about food, why we crave it, and why we binge on certain kinds of food. As it turns out, my uncle's disinterest in watermelon had nothing to do with taste. In fact, as a child, he had quite a fondness for watermelon. So much so that when he was a boy of about 7 or 8 in Marshall, Texas, he and some friends stole a watermelon from a neighbor's garden. They were just having fun. It was something to do on a hot summer day. But what was supposed to be fun took a bad turn. When his father, my grandfather, found out about the incident, he was not happy. Well, my grandfather, with arms strengthened from years of pounding nails into railroad ties as a Texas railman, beat my uncle with a belt for all he was worth. There was no way that my grandfather, who served as a church trustee, would let anyone think his son was a thief or that he wasn't providing for his family. Clearly, he administered a whipping that my uncle never forgot.
mhm.
My uncle had not eaten watermelon since.
Mm,
I was saddened and deeply shaken by this story. Still, I had another question.
mhm.
Well, Billy, that was over 70 years ago. Now that you look back, do you think maybe the lesson was supposed to be, thou shalt not steal? I don't eat watermelon, he replied. So I left it at that. Many years later, I reflected on this story and it hit me. My uncle's experience with watermelon was so traumatic that even after 7 decades, he still could not bring himself to eat it. The memories associated with this food he once loved as a boy were just too painful, which he would risk reliving if he ate the fruit. This led me to ask other questions. Could the opposite be true? That is it possible that our cravings and binges are rooted in certain memories and experiences that are so pleasurable that they drive us to eat certain foods? Is it also possible that, like my uncle who had stopped eating watermelon because of a bad experience, we crave certain foods because they evoke good memories?
Mm-hmm.
The answers to these questions led me to what I call a food identity, which I define as the way we think, feel, act, and move around food. Our food identities are born out of our food stories, the events, experience, and memories that form our beliefs, attitudes, and habits about food, eating, and hunger. Navigating through my own food stories helped me to develop an individualized process to finally manage cravings, binging, and overeating. Throughout my journey, I figured out how to find, face, rewrite, and replace toxic food stories and replace them with brand new food stories. Changing my food stories empowered me to change my food identity. When I changed what food means in my life and separated my food interactions and experiences from the feelings they evoked, the scale started moving downward. This put me on a path toward wholeness and well being, and I began to experience freedom from food addiction for the first time in my life. I am sure you want the scale to move in the right direction for you too. This book, Leaving Large, is a collection of personal food stories, learnings, and lessons that transformed my mind and body. I share food stories that kept me trapped and ultimately released me from a 42-year cycle of obesity and yo yo dieting. My journey through these food stories allowed me to discover peace, pride, confidence, freedom, power, and joy hidden beneath 4 decades and 700 pounds of fat. 700 pounds. That's how much weight I lost and gained over the years in a pattern I repeated over and over. The truth is, we all have food stories. That is, my food stories are not about me, they are about you. They are about us. We all have stories to tell. We, however, seldom recognize them for what they are, focus on how they came to be or how they control us.
Mm-hmm.
Consequently, we go through life mindlessly eating excessively large portions of this and that, whether it's crab legs or chicken wings or potato salad or apple pie, because our yet to be unpacked food stories are dictating how we think, feel, and act and move around food. But I can promise you this: after you read even a few stories in this book, you will never look at the food you eat and the food you think you love the same. You
Mm-hmm.
will see that much of what you eat is an attempt to recreate an experience, and continually trying to relive an experience through food may not necessarily be in the best interest of your health and well being. In fact, it might be killing you. All this time, I bet you thought you were living large. Well, now the time has come for you to begin leaving large.
Yes. Amen. Amen. That covered creating internal alignment, building sustainable change, developing self trust, and providing community support. Michelle wrote that book, Leaving Large. She's written three different mind over meals retreat. She's getting ready to host her next Mind Over Meals retreat next week, May 6th, for 8 days, and it is free. In the description, you'll see the sign up. Join us. Every Monday, she has a weight loss support group. And once a month, she has a paid writing group. What transform your mind is writing. Even though I've been a part of Michelle's class 1 year and 4 months, I still take notes every time I talk to her. I listen to every interview that you have, and it continues to provide that support for me. And I'm still over 400 pounds. But baby, I can walk, I can stand. I got on the ground twice doing personal training, got up. I can do it.
And how much have
And
you lost?
I've lost 175 pounds. 175 pounds. And when you lose 1 pound, then you begin to say, like me, I believe I can lose weight naturally. If I have to, I might have weight loss surgery. But if I don't have to, I'm not going to have it. But every day I say, I believe, because I'm transforming my mind. You
Yes.
know, I've
Yes.
learned that I can eat a cold can of beans, protein. I'm so excited. I don't know what to do. I've learned that it's okay to get enough water. Put it in the cup that look cute. I've learned that. And I don't feel no ways about it, you know. And
Yeah.
so that's what this group has done for me. I practiced stop eating sugar. I practiced it. So
Yes.
1 week I was like, well, I gotta eat candy today because next week we're not gonna eat none. And then after I made it through, I ate it the next week. And then I said the next month I'm not gonna eat no more sugar. And I was able to do it because I practiced it.
Yes.
And then when he gave me my third blood pressure pill, I was like, well, let me see what this salt do. So I cut out every salt, sea salt, all the salt. It's in the kitchen, but I don't eat it. And it dropped my blood pressure. My blood pressure was 109 over something this today.
Mm. Mm.
So I was
Mm.
okay. I'm still
Mhm.
living because I
Mhm.
changed my mind.
Mhm. You change your mind.
Yes,
And DebraAnn, here's the thing. Here's the thing that's you said so much that's powerful, but one of the things that you said that is just so powerful, you said it's in the kitchen, but I don't eat it.
that's it.
That is that's what it means to stand in your power, because when you get it in your mind, when you are in alignment, when you are in integrity, when you have drawn the line in the sand, no one can sabotage you, right? That it doesn't matter what they bring out, right? I went to we were talking earlier and I told you I went to my little neighborhood place and I had my salad that I regularly have. They brought out my little salad and they had the little muffin on the side of the plate. When they brought the plate, I found the napkin, I put the little muffin right there on the counter, right? It was still there when I finished my meal. It was still sitting on the counter. They brought it, but I don't eat that. So
Hmm.
it can sit there. It can sit there. And the reality is that sometimes depending on where you are in your development, depending on where you are in your line in the sand, you there when you first start doing that, you may have to resist it. I mean, 5 years ago I might have needed to put that muffin, they needed to take it away because I would have been tempted. I might have been tempted. But when
Hmm.
you but when you get to the point where you can look at that and say, they may call it a muffin on the menu, but I know that it's poison. I'm not tempted, right? Maybe I used to eat salt, but I know about the microplastics in the salt, and I don't want that in my body. I know that
Hmm.
some salt has sugar in it, and I don't eat sugar, right?
Hmm.
I know that having high blood pressure is not good for me, and
Hmm.
having a healthy blood pressure is more important than anything that salt could do on any food that I could put it on. So I don't eat that. That's not who I am. You gave yourself, just like I was reading a new food identity.
Hmm.
The way you act and move and think around food. You are living proof that you can change that. You can change your food identity.
Hmm.
When you do that, you change your life.
And I'm so anxious that I went to my washer and dryer. I've been detesting washing for 2 weeks. So I said, oh, these clothes need to rewash. So I pushed the rewash button, and I was gonna get, my food, some big turkey out the refrigerator and some cheese. Even though I don't really eat cheese, but this low good cheese. So I got it. And I walked out the kitchen, didn't even get it. And I was like, oh well, I forgot about it. So even that, it's really amazing to me because I would have never not eating something that I said I was gonna eat.
Mhm.
I grabbed another can of beans off the kitchen table and went, I'll eat this.
Yeah.
So, and I'm so proud of that because it is a journey. It is a journey. Miss Barbara brought me a bag of wheat thins last weekend. I wasn't so successful with that, but even I was trying. But even though I was nibbling on it, I still didn't overeat. And I said, you know what? You're gonna keep working on that. But
Yes.
she doesn't know I don't eat that. She was just trying to be helpful.
Yes.
But and
Yes.
that's okay. You don't have to beat yourself up. This is
Yes.
transformation.
Yes.
The
Yes.
belief is that I can lose weight.
Yes.
And when
Absolutely.
I lost weight at the beginning of the week and at the end of the week, I'm like, what? And I realized also I don't need as much food as I thought I did.
Mhm.
I could eat a half a bag of salad for lunch and a half a bag of salad for dinner, and it has 5 or 6 different type of vegetables in it,
Mhm.
proteins and nuts, and I was like, okay, okay,
Mhm. Mhm. Yep.
okay.
You are rewriting your story all along your journey.
Hmm.
That's what you're doing. You're rewriting your
Oh
story all along
yeah, I
your
know.
journey. So that is
Yes.
good stuff.
Well, tell us again. What time is your meal mind over meal
Okay.
session? May the
Okay, so the Mind Over Meals retreats is we are just a week away, really, because no, we're 6 days away because it starts on May 6th. It's May 6th for 8 days. It's from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is an hour, and that hour is jam packed. And here's what we're going to do in this Mind Over Meals retreat. Like the first Mind Over Meals retreat, we went over the 8 principles of being brand new, right? What that means, and you talked about it, how you begin and believe, you rise up and reinvent, you live in alignment and accountability. We focus on nutrition and nourishment, all the stuff that we talked about tonight. We get the water, we that's what we drink, we sleep, we get the 8 hours of sleep, we write, right? We pay attention, we ask the questions, energy, attention, time, evaluate, ask, and think. All of that. And even what you just said, celebrating your victory of going through all those steps. We talked about it all in this conversation. That's what
Mhm,
that that's what the first retreat was about. And if somebody is interested in that, you can go on my website, Nine of the Meals, and get the replays of it. The second retreat that we did, we focused on emotions. We focused on the emotions that keep us stuck, some specific emotions. Because most of the time, Deborah, when I talk to people and they say, "Oh, I'm an emotional eater," and here's what I hear. Here's what I hear. "Oh, I eat when I'm stressed. I eat when I'm bored. I eat when I'm lonely." And then sometimes
mhm,
I will hear, I'm grieving. Someone that I love passed away and I gained weight when they died.
mhm,
Those are the top four, right?
mhm,
When I'm stressed, when I'm lonely, when I'm bored, and when I'm grieving.
mhm.
There are hundreds of other emotions out there. And we eat for all of these other emotions, but we don't recognize it. What about eating out of curiosity, right?
Wow,
What about eating out of fear, right? What about eating out of jealousy? Anybody
wow.
anybody ever talk about that? Oh, when you go out to eat. Oh, you know what? What yours look better than mine. I should have got that.
Yeah,
Here, let me taste that. I'm gonna get that next time.
yeah.
You-
Oh
Right?
yeah.
That's a right?
Yes.
Don't we do that? That
Yes, we do.
that that's an emotion. Fear, fear,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, well, we're going to the buffet. I'm gonna I'm gonna eat as much as I can because I want to get my money's worth.
Yes. Oh
Fear,
yeah.
fear,
Oh yeah.
fear that somehow you're gonna be taken advantage of. Fear
Exactly.
that somehow you're gonna be outsmarted, that you're gonna waste your money, that they're gonna come out on the better end of the deal than you.
Or
Fear.
when you bring a aluminum foil or to go box and put food in there, put it in your purse.
That's right.
It's the truth. We did it in college. Oh yeah, and other times too.
Right. So, we don't talk about that. We don't talk, at work, right? You're trying to figure out a problem, and you're sitting there, and the next thing you know, you're going to the vending machine to get some chips, right? And
Yes.
so now, because you're frustrated, because you're trying to figure out some problem that you can't figure out, but you aren't able to name it. So you got some
Yeah.
frustration going on. So there, in in my 52-week program, in the 52-week program, we go through 52 different emotions that we feel, and we don't always realize that those emotions are going on. Because what happens when we have emotions that show up in our body that go unaddressed, they turn into pain. They
Mm.
turn into discomfort. They turn into this feeling that just make you feel some kind of way. And because you don't know how to process it, you don't know what it is. If it shows up in your stomach, you think that it's hunger and you end up eating to try to cover it, to try to mask it, to try to deal with it. And the food will not solve it because
Yes.
it's an emotion. And the only problem that food solves is hunger. You will hear me say that if you're in class with me, I'm coaching. You come to a workshop. You will hear me say that 100 times because we need to hear it because the fast food companies, the snack food companies, the junk food companies are telling us 10,000 times that food can solve every problem on earth,
Mm-hmm.
that you need to eat for entertainment, you need to eat for salvation, you need to eat for pleasure. Food is what you do with your friends. Food is culture. They tell us all of that all the time so that it feeds their profit and destroys our health. That's why I am a broken record. The only problem food will solve is hunger. The only problem food will solve is hunger. The only problem food will solve is hunger. And if you've got something else going on that's emotional, figure that out. That's what I do. I teach you how to figure out that emotional thing that's going on. And once you solve the emotion, the need, if you are an emotional eater and you're eating from a place of disempowerment, once
Mm-hmm.
you solve the problem, then the need to eat goes away.
Yes.
That's what they don't tell you.
Yes.
That's what they don't tell you. That's how they keep people stuck. Because
Yep.
75% of people say I'm an emotional eater, but none of the solutions don't solve what the real problem is. The solutions that are all out there are about a powder, a pill, a program, a meal plan, or something like that to help you address hunger. And hunger is not the issue. The emotion is the issue.
Yes.
And when you learn to honor the emotion, when you're not afraid of the emotion, when you can look at it, when you know that that emotion won't kill you, that the emotion is just data, it's information, it's a tool to help you navigate, that the emotion in fact can help you stronger, it leads to resilience. We need to honor our emotions because in honoring our emotions, we are honoring who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what it means to be alive, to be able to feel. And if we're using food to cover that up, then we're cutting ourselves off from ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
That's
so that
wonderful.
that's a long way of saying that's what we're doing on the mind. That's what you're gonna get on the Mind Over Meals retreat. You're gonna get 8 days of that. and we're going to be talking about specific situations. We're going to be talking about eating on holidays,
Yeah.
eating in social situations, eating at work, eating around friends, eating on the weekends. 7 situations that people that I coach tell me this is where I struggle. When I'm around people, I don't have the tools to manage these external things.
Yeah.
It's hard because everybody else is doing it. I feel like I'm depriving myself. So
Yes.
we change the language, we change the thought around that, right?
Yes.
We give
I'm
you
going to an
tools.
event on Saturday. It's from 4 o'clock until 7 o'clock. I'm leaving at 2 o'clock. I'm going to get me my mixed salad that has 5 different vegetables in it and the pumpkin seeds and take it with me. And hey, we're gonna be all right.
It's gonna
That's
be all
all I
right.
need. That's all I need.
We're gonna be all right. Deborah Ann, I told you, I don't know if I told you, did I tell you this? I was like a couple of weeks ago, I spoke at a church. And
Yes.
before the speaking event, they invited me to have dinner with, some of the people. And they had the meal. They had the food kind of like, sitting out. And the first lady came in, and the first lady brought her food with her.
Mhm.
The first lady of the church
Mhm.
brought her own food.
Yes.
The kitchen ministry cooked what they cooked, right? But
Mhm.
she brought what she wanted to eat.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
So no apology. Nobody said anything.
Exactly.
It didn't mean that she didn't love her congregation. It didn't mean that she didn't
Exactly.
appreciate them. It meant that
Mhm.
she brought what she wanted to eat.
Yes.
What it didn't
I
have
did the
anything to do
same
with them.
thing.
And so what happens is when we start to draw our own lines in the sand, when we start to
Mhm.
give ourselves permission to stand in our own truth, we start to see other people that also stand in their own truth without apology.
Yes.
We start to see what that really means and what that really looks like when we start doing it for real.
Yes.
When we start doing it, and that's what this is about. That that's what you learn in the minds over meals. That's what you get, and you get it in community. You
Yes.
get the tools to start reclaiming your power, taking back your life, taking back your thoughts, owning your thoughts, so that you can get a body that can support you in this life,
Yes.
right? So you can get a body that can move you through this world in the way that you want to move through this world.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's, and I hope you're watching. I hope you join us. The information is
In the
down at the
description.
bottom of the page. If you can't find it, you can find me on social media at I am brand new now. Michelle Pettis. Just Google me. The name comes up. Google
Yeah, it
Mind Over
does.
Meals. That comes up.
Mhm.
Leaving Large. That comes up.
Mhm.
Michelle at michellepettis.com.
Yes. You can
We're
ask me
here for
about it.
you.
I'll forward you the link as well.
Yes.
Because if those
Ask
fake
Deborah Ann.
comments
Right.
you can't find it, I'll forward you the link.
Yeah.
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 And the Facebook group is Women Losing Weight Together.
Yes. Women losing weight together.
And men are invited. It's just called Women Losing Weight Together.
Yeah, that's just what we
We
call
have
it.
had some men join us for Mind Over Meals, haven't we,
Yes,
Michelle?
indeed.
Yes,
Yes,
men are
indeed,
invited.
we did.
We love the men folk too. Men don't think we don't love you now. Especially me. We appreciate the men folk.
Yes, we do.
We
Yes,
want
we
you
do.
healthy too.
Absolutely. Because
Yes.
you gotta be able to keep up.
That's it.
You gotta be able to keep up. You
That's
gotta be able to
it.
keep up.
That
Well,
is
all
it.
right, my dear. This has been lovely. Thank you so much for holding
Oh,
space
you're
for this
welcome. Thank you
conversation.
so much for your time, for your commitment to this important topic. And we'll look to see you on Monday, and we'll look to see everybody else at Mind Over Meals. Okay. Bye, y'all. Thank you. Thank you to my new moderator, Girl Dad, cooking up deliciousness. Thank you. He is just coming in like a trooper. Thanks, Girl Dad. Okay. And everybody else, thank y'all. See you next week. Bye.